Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. It's a miserable old day today. It's a spring morning, but it's blowing a southerly. I'm in the car, so I'm going to do a different style of vlog this morning. Can't get out because it's just too windy, and the interference on the mic would be too distracting. Plus, it's pretty cold. It's cold. It's windy. It's raining as well, and it's a bit sad because over the past couple of days the weather has been absolutely glorious. It's been summer-like conditions up here at Nelson Bay, and the water temperature's been beautiful. It's been sunny. It's just been absolutely perfect weather. No clouds in the sky, and just absolutely glorious. But all good things come to an end. It's Tuesday, the day before I head back to Sydney. I've got an extra day off from work today, so I thought I'd stay up here with Paula. My daughters and son-in-law have headed back to Sydney, so everybody's back to normal. And I've got one more day just to spend up here and try and make the most of it. So what I thought I'd do today is touch on a book summary, a book that, interestingly enough, I don't think I've been to a seminar, a seminar where the presenter has not referenced this book. It seems to be one of the personal development classics that everybody uses as their go-to material, and one of the modern foundational texts. Because a lot of this material, of course, appears in ancient texts. A lot of the philosophers, the Greek philosophers, talked about this all the time. But the book is entitled "As a Man Thinketh," and the author is James Allen, and it was published in 1907, so a long time ago, over 100 years ago. So it just goes to show that this material has been around for quite a while, and it's probably worth us just chatting about it and just touching on a few of the topics, and just having a bit of a discussion now that we're car bound and can't get out and about. So sorry I can't bring you a more interesting vista other than to see my my talking head, but I'll do my very best to get through this and hopefully touch on a couple of items from the book which are really interesting and useful, because all we're trying to do here is just have a chat, converse in a non-formal way, and hopefully share some knowledge on things which could be uplifting and beneficial. Anyway, in the book there, James Allen touches on the importance of thought, and that thought is the basis of action, and action is the basis of both joy and sorrow. And he makes a very important point that we are in control of our thoughts, or should be in control of our thoughts. And I guess the first question that James Allen poses to us is, who's in control of your thoughts? Are your thoughts controlled by the people around you, the media, circumstances, or are you actively controlling or managing your thought process based on the things that you have learnt and the goals that you've set for yourself? Because James Allen very clearly talks about the power of thought, and if you can think of something, if something can be thought of, then he goes as far as saying that it can be manifest and it can be created. And that works in both a positive and a negative way. If we're infested with negative thoughts, then those negative thoughts will bubble up and become our reality and our future and our worldview, and vice versa. If you've got positive thoughts, and if you're battling and weeding out the negative thoughts to make room for positive thoughts, then there is a potential for those positive thoughts to materialize and to manifest themselves into your lifestyle and into your destiny. So as James Allen says, we are the masters, we are the directors of our life, of course with God's help. It's not just ourselves doing it for our own gratification. And he talks about how it's important to try and manage your thought processes, because a lot of people say the same thing, that most of our thoughts, and some people say that we may have as many as 70,000 thoughts a day. There are people who suggest, I don't know how they've come up with this, but it can be mathematically created as well, that 70% or 80% of the thoughts that most people have are negative thoughts. And I attest to this. Whenever I get up in the morning to go for a walk, I look out the window and every excuse in the world just comes into my mind as to why I shouldn't do it. It's too windy, it's too cold, it's too early, it's too wet, my foot hurts, it's too late, I won't get there in time, there may be cloud on the horizon so I won't see a sunrise, or you name it. It's just amazing how the brain, your mind, can just throw up all these negative thoughts. But what I've learnt to do is I've learnt to battle that, and to remind myself that once I'm up there, or once I've gotten to where I want to be, the rewards far outweigh the negativities or the disadvantages. So I always try and remind myself and picture myself arriving, and then saying to myself, thanks James for making the decision to come here, because it was worth it. Look, sometimes it's not worth it, but if you're positive in your mindset, what you can do is you can actually look for positivities in everything you do, and shape your view of the world, as opposed to just being negative and just looking for all the wrongs and trying to invalidate people around you, things around you, and experiences. It's easy to be negative, it's easy to be a Debbie Downer, and to look into the negatives, and we're surrounded by lots of people who are constantly just trying to remind us of the bad things in life, the negative things in life. Whatever pops up on the news, they're the first to try and trumpet it and say how the world's coming to an end, or how it's going to be terrible and bad and this, that and the other. But we all know ourselves that over a lifetime, very, very few things materialise which turn out to be as bad as what they are, and to the contrary, very few things turn out to be as good or better than what you expect. So on average, things just work their way through, and life is pretty mundane for most of us, for most of the time. Anyway, so the power is in each of us. Each person has the ability to shape their thoughts, and I've touched on this before, that we have in our brains a reticular activating system, which is a filter. So whichever thoughts, whichever things you focus on, that filter will continue to manifest, to generate, to search high and low, wide and far, near and far, to try and just try and prove you right. It's called a confirmation bias. So your brain will continue to scan the universe to validate, to prove you're right in your beliefs. But here is the important thing that James Allen talks about, is that you are, or you can, in a way, shape those beliefs and shape those those things that you want to manifest by the things you think about. If you think about something in a positive way, or if you think that you want to achieve something which is worthwhile and positive, then you lock it into your reticular activating system, and then you let it go. It's important to let it go and not to focus on it all the time, because if you try and grasp it and grab it all the time, you'll spoil it. You can overthink things. So the modern science talks about basically letting go, having the positive thoughts, having the positive affirmations and working on those positive affirmations, but then being dispassionate and letting it go, and then letting your subconscious, here's the important thing, letting your subconscious work in the background, knowing that 90% of our mental abilities are subconscious, and they're happening in the background to manifest, to create our futures. So the choice is up to each and every one of us. We can allow our reticular activating system to manifest a negative future, a negative set of circumstances, or it can go out of its way to try and manifest something which is positive, which is useful, which is fruitful for us. And this is basically the gist of the book, As a Man Thinketh. And we hear the terms all the time, seek and you shall find. And we are designed, we're very, very lucky in terms of being born into humankind, because man or people are teleological in nature, which means that once we pose ourselves a challenge or a problem, we will go out of our way to solve that problem, or to create that picture that we have in our minds. So the warning to young people and to all of us is that if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, if you're constantly got a negative picture in your mind, if you're constantly got a map which is a negative map of the world or a negative view of the world, then that is what you're going to manifest in your life. And that pause that I just did was purposeful. I just wanted you to think about what I just said. So whatever you think about, you'll manifest. Whatever you focus on, that will be your future. So it's important. It's important for all of us to take time to help each other and help ourselves, because we're all influencing the people around us, we're influencing ourselves, but the first person we need to manage and to help is ourselves. And the way you help yourself is by having a positive worldview of the world around you, and not to be cynical, not to be negative, not to be happy in other people's disasters and problems, but to be as positive and uplifting as possible. Because the bottom line is, and we've all learned this time and time again in our lives, other people's problems end up becoming our problems. So you're not going to have a good life if the people around you have problems and have a bad life, because sooner or later you're going to load it up into your backpack, and you're going to be carrying not only your issues and challenges, but also the people's issues and challenges around you. So it's not easy. It's not easy to be positive. It's not easy to not get caught up in the vortex of negativity that surrounds us. There are people who seem to make it a full-time job being the voices of negativity about you name it. And I don't understand why they focus on it. They go out of their way to talk about stuff which is not going to change our lives. It's just fear-mongering. It's just creating fear, uncertainty and doubt, which we don't need. We don't need those distractions in our lives. So the challenge for each and every one of us is to stop them in their place, to switch off the channel. So if you're tuned in to people who are negative, who are creating fear, uncertainty and doubt, who are fear mongers, and who are basically trying to paint a negative picture of the world around us, switch them off or mute them. You can mute them, just ignore them, because they're not going to lead you to a good place. They're just going to cause you and your family and your friends and everybody around you, they're just going to cause you heartache, because you're going to be focusing on, and in the back of your mind, you're going to be thinking about all these negative thoughts. Your subconscious will be throwing them up all the time, because those signals are constantly getting through. So try and mute them as best you can, but also weed them out and focus on positivity wherever you can, to basically manifest your destiny, manifest your future, because you've got one life and that life is yours, and it's up to you to make the most of it, to be the best you possibly can. And by you being the best you possibly can, you can influence other people around you, your children, your grandchildren, your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts, your friends, your work peers, you name it. But if you get caught up in the negativity, in the BS of the media, the BS of your friends and family, then you're not going to be in a position to help yourself or to help anybody else. Anyway, I think I've touched on most of the stuff that I wanted to touch on today. I advise you, if you can, get a copy of James Allen's classic, As a Man Thinketh, and read for yourself. It is a fascinating topic. Self-image, self-talk, the power of the reticular activating system, the power of the brain, the power of the mind. All of these things are just very, very powerful and useful. So it's really, really good. And we'll chat again. So let me finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, take heed from James Allen's book, and think positive thoughts where you can, and remember that what you think is what you do, and what you do is what you either reap in terms of joy or sorrow. So do the best you possibly can and pass on the good message to everybody around you, and be the source of joy, the source of positivity, the source of hope to those around you, and not to be the fearmonger, the person who gets everybody anxious, worried, and sick in a world which is beautiful. You know, there's so much abundance out there. There's so many things that we can all achieve and do. It's only limited by our thought processes and the things that we want, and the image that we have of the world. Anyway, take care. Yasas from Jim's 5am Club, and I look forward to chatting to you again tomorrow from another location. Hopefully I'll be able to show something as opposed to just sitting in the car and just seeing my face, and bringing to you another positive, uplifting message, either from an experience, a book summary, or just something that we just decide to chat about. Yasas, take care, sagapao, I love you, and bye for now. From Jim's 5am Club. Bye.